Good evening. I'm Jane with Today's Point, and we're coming to you live from outside the Hyundai Motor Group Meta plant, America and Georgia, the site of a seismic event that has sent shockwaves from Washington, D.C. to Seoul. Just a few days ago, this construction site, a symbol of economic partnership and future innovation, became the backdrop for a massive immigration raid, where U.S. federal agents arrested nearly 500 workers, including over 300 South Korean citizens. The question on everyone's mind is, why now? And why with such force? Let's break down the layers of this complex and politically charged incident. The first question is a logistical one. Why this specific plant, and why were so many South Koreans arrested? The U.S. Department of Homeland Security's special agent, Stephen Schrank, stated this was not a random roundup, but the culmination of a months-long criminal investigation. The raid, carried out by multiple federal agencies, targeted a joint battery plant venture between Hyundai and LG Energy Solution in Bryan County, Georgia. This site is part of a multi-billion-dollar investment, a centerpiece of Korea's commitment to the U.S., and a key to America's clean energy goals. According to initial reports and statements from U.S. officials, the arrests were made based on immigration law violations. Many of the detained individuals were working on tourist visas or visa waivers, Este, which strictly prohibit employment. These are not undocumented immigrants who crossed the border illegally, but rather skilled technicians and engineers who were allegedly brought in by subcontractors on the wrong visa. The local reason for the crackdown, according to some analyses, traces back to persistent labor and safety issues on the site. Reports from the U.S. Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, have cited several safety violations and even a workplace fatality. Some speculate that these safety and labor issues may have put the site under heightened scrutiny, providing a pretext for the immigration raid, which served as a powerful message to all foreign companies. The second, and perhaps most pressing question, is about the political timing. This raid occurred just days after a high-profile summit between President Donald Trump and South Korean President Lee Jae-myung. During their meeting, the leaders reaffirmed the U.S.-Korea alliance and discussed significant Korean investments in the U.S. economy. Yet, in the aftermath, President Trump has remained conspicuously silent on the specific arrests, instead issuing a broad, stern warning on his social media platform. He wrote that while foreign investments are welcome, all companies must respect our nation's immigration laws and legally bring your very smart people. He then added a crucial phrase: "What we ask in return is that you hire and train American workers." This response, or lack thereof, reveals a nuanced political strategy. Trump is balancing competing interests. On one hand, he needs to appear strong on immigration enforcement, fulfilling a core campaign promise. A major, highly visible raid like this serves as a powerful symbol of his America First policy. On the other hand, he cannot afford to alienate a key economic and strategic ally like South Korea, especially given the multi-billion-dollar investments and the need for a stable alliance in East Asia. His statement carefully avoids directly condemning South Korea or Hyundai, instead framing the issue as a general warning to all foreign investors. By not personally intervening, he signals that his administration will enforce the law without exception, but by not escalating the rhetoric, he leaves room for a diplomatic resolution. So how is South Korea reacting? The situation is delicate. The Korean government is navigating a difficult path between protecting its citizens and preserving a vital economic relationship. Immediately following the arrests, the government established an emergency response team. Foreign Minister Cho Hyun stated that the government would take all-out necessary measures to assist its citizens, and President Lee Jae-myung ordered a swift resolution. Diplomatically, Seoul is not framing this as a hostile act by Washington, but rather as an unfortunate incident resulting from legal and administrative discrepancies. Their primary goal has been to secure the release of the detained workers. Through rapid, high-level diplomatic engagement, the two nations reached an agreement for the release and a chartered flight home for the workers, a remarkably swift resolution that shows the strength of the alliance at a working level. However, this is just a temporary fix. The Korean government's official stance is to focus on resolving the issue administratively. They have pledged to streamline the visa application process for skilled workers to prevent similar incidents in the future. This approach publicly acknowledges the legal violation on the part of the companies and workers, while avoiding a direct diplomatic confrontation that could damage the alliance. The incident will undoubtedly shape future relations between the two countries. The quick fix of a diplomatic agreement doesn't solve the underlying issues. This event is a reminder that even the closest allies are not exempt from the domestic policies of their partners. Future U.S. administrations, particularly under a hardline immigration stance, may use similar enforcement actions as a bargaining chip or a show of force. South Korea will likely be forced to reform its corporate practices and government support systems to better align with U.S. labor and immigration laws. The reliance on informal visa arrangements and the pali-pali, hurry culture of swift project completion will need to be reevaluated. The raid has shaken the confidence of Korean companies and investors. While Korea has pledged massive investments in the U.S., this incident highlights the risks involved. It underscores a social tension. American workers demand jobs and fair wages, and the U.S. government is under pressure to deliver. The incident highlights the disconnect between the high-level, multi-billion-dollar investment pledges and the on-the-ground reality of labor and immigration regulations. This could lead to increased public scrutiny in both countries, with Americans questioning the true benefits of foreign investment and Koreans questioning the security of doing business in the U.S. The pali-pali culture, which often relies on speed and improvisation to overcome logistical hurdles, clashed head-on with America's rigid legal and bureaucratic system. This cultural friction is at the heart of the problem. For South Korea, the incident is a humbling lesson in the necessity of respecting the host country's laws, regardless of good intentions or a desire for efficiency. For Americans, it's a moment to understand the immense cultural and logistical challenges faced by foreign companies trying to navigate their complex system. So how should both nations move forward? The focus must shift from a diplomatic band-aid to a structural solution. The U.S. should work with the South Korean government to create a more streamlined and efficient visa process for skilled workers on critical projects. Instead of using raids as a tool for enforcement, which creates diplomatic incidents, they should focus on proactive communication and a clear legal framework. Korea, for its part, must educate its corporations on the importance of strict compliance with U.S. labor and immigration laws. This incident can be turned into an opportunity. Korean companies should publicly commit to hiring and training a larger share of American workers, as Trump's statement implies. This would not only alleviate political pressure, but also foster better community relations. The U.S., in turn, could offer incentives or dedicated support channels for allied nations' projects to ensure smoother operations. A joint U.S.-Korea task force on labor and visa issues for major investments could be a way to build a more robust, long-term partnership. This is a moment for dialogue, not just between governments, but between people. Public relations campaigns and cultural exchange programs could help bridge the gap in understanding. It's an opportunity for Korea to showcase its technological prowess while demonstrating a commitment to being a responsible global partner, and for the U.S. to show that its welcoming message to investors is sincere, as long as it's paired with respect for its laws. This incident, while deeply concerning, is not an unsolvable crisis. It is a wake-up call. It forces both nations to confront the friction points in their relationship and to build a stronger, more transparent partnership for the future. This is Jane for Today's Point, reporting from Georgia. Back to the studio.